Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reclaiming My Life. I am so excited tonight. We have a very special guest joining us, and it's my hubby. But before we dive into our topic tonight, which will be PTSD and depression after return from the military, please let me introduce my beautiful co authors to you. Dr. Tiffany Tyson,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming My Life podcast.
Miss Tramika Cooper,
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Reclaiming My Life podcast.
and the beautiful Miss Joanne Bellamy.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight on Reclaiming Our Life podcast.
Thank you so much, co authors. Tonight, my husband will share his testimony on how he had to reclaim his life after return from 29 years, serving 29 years in the U.S. Army. And he had to reclaim from suffering from depression and PTSD. Please meet my handsome husband, James Massey.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure for me to be here this evening to share my story with you. Again, I'm James Massey. I served 29 years in the United States Army, honorably discharged in 2018. A great time, a great career. I had a stellar career, a career that I should be and am very proud of. Upon retirement, probably about 2 months after I retired, I found myself in a dark place, a dark hole, filled with depression, PTSD, and I believe the PTSD definitely triggered my depression. In that 29 years, I was a multiple combat deployed soldier. By the grace of God, I returned home safely with no injuries. Physical, however, I was dealing with a lot of emotional damage from my service.
All right. And James, so um, let me ask you. Well, you know what? I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to bring my co authors in and let them talk to you. All right. So, Miss Tramika, come on in. Come on in. Talk to my husband here.
Hello, Mr. Massey.
Hello, Ms. Cooper.
So, I have friends who retired from the military and they've been diagnosed with PTSD as well. However, they don't like being around a crowd of people. Is this an issue for you being in crowds or around people that you don't know?
Being in crowds definitely makes people uneasy. Something as simple as
Mm-hmm.
going to the mall or going to the grocery store shopping. Um, they rather be at home than be in a what's considered a safe place because shopping may take them back to a deployment time period of being in the market and something traumatic happened within the market, and so that's a trigger for them being in crowds. Um,
Thank you, Mr. Massey.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And next up, I'm going to bring on Dr. Tyson.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Tyson. Good evening.
Good evening. First, I want to say thank you for your service.
Welcome, ma'am.
And you mentioned it was 2 months after you got out of the military where you began to notice signs of PTSD. What did you do to try to adjust back to civilian life when you first retired?
Dr. Tyson, when I first retired, to get back on track, I had to seek some help. Um, I reached out to the VA. The mental health clinic has a post traumatic stress disorder clinic. Veterans from all genres, all eras would come together and we would basically have open discussion. No judgment zone of how we're feeling, the experiences that we shared, facilitated by a counselor. We went through different um, training iterations that addressed what I just spoke of previously, avoidance, different cues and clues, trying to hunt the good stuff, trying to be resilient, trying to get back to ourselves, and inevitably get back to our families.
So today, what do you find most that has helped you with your PTSD symptoms? Is it doing activities such as watching games or spending time with your family or hobbies?
Definitely spending time with my family. Again, especially my help me, um, who was the catalyst to getting me back on track. Um, I think it's Ecclesiastes 4:9 talking about two is better than one. You get a greater.
Yes.
I got it. It couldn't be
Amen.
better. Couldn't be happier. It's not cliche. It's a reality because again, and I'll tell the podcast as well. I was at a dark point in my life. I verbalized some things where, in retrospect, I know better and I knew better. I know who I am and I know whose I am. But again, I was in a dark place, and I'm thankful now that I'm not there. And again, for my supporting family, my supporting network, again, being as active as you possibly can. But I tell any veteran that feels like they're in a dark place, reach out for help. Avoid the stigma, reach out for help, get get involved within a group of other veterans where you can dialogue, share experiences, go through some training. If you have to go through multiple iterations of training, get that. But be proactive. Take a proactive approach to your individual resiliency, your ability to bounce back from the negative to a positive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tyson. And next up, I'm going to bring my beautiful co-author, Miss Joanne.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Bellamy.
Hello, Mr. Massey, the handsome hubby.
Hello, chain breaker, Miss Bellamy. How are you, ma'am?
I am good. And you know
Awesome.
what? You are awesome. I thank God for you. I thank God for allowing you to be here. You are
Yes, ma'am.
awesome. Um, Mr. Massey, I myself um have a past history of depression. And during my past of being depressed, I felt like I didn't belong and I wasn't a part of. It really like downed me. And I knew something was going on, but I didn't know how to handle it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when I went on medication, I went there to get some help to for myself. During your depression, did you feel any type of um trying to put it where you understand what I'm saying? Any type of way did you feel different within yourself? That you knew something wasn't right with you.
Thank you for your question, Ms. Bellamy. Yes, ma'am, I did. And like I said,
Wow.
my change happened 2 months post retirement. Um, I would isolate myself from the family. I would stay in the room. If I didn't have to get up and do anything, I would do exactly that. I would have lights off, blinds
Wow.
closed, with no sunshine coming in. If I could stay in the bed and cover up and just be in a funk. But after a while, the spirit hit my help me, and that help me was like in a gentle way. Hey, how you doing? Can I get you anything? I need you to get me something. Come on, sit up and talk to me for a little bit. What's going on? And and step by step, she would go through a process of describing her husband, who was not her husband, and not so much her expectation. However, she shared, poured out her heart. Sir,
Yeah.
you have valiantly served the nation for 29 years.
Yeah.
Let's go in the
Yeah.
office for a minute. Let's look up on your wall. Let's look at your I love me stuff. There are so many reminders. Look in the mirror. A lot of folks didn't make it. The Winans
Yeah.
have a song, Millions didn't make it. And you were
Right.
one of the ones
Right.
who did. Sir,
Yeah.
you're here. You're
Yeah.
here. It's not by happenstance, it's by purpose. By his purpose. You have a purpose. So whatever we need to do, whoever we need to see, talk to, sit down with, let's get about the business of doing that.
Yes.
We can be a better us, so that this
Yes.
family can be a better family. You can continue to be a contributor to society. Because again, Ms. Bellamy, I was at a point where, and I can honestly say it, I verbalized that I did not want to be here anymore.
Yes.
Why? Because I felt defeated. I
Yeah.
felt that I didn't have anything else to give. I had
Yeah.
a great career and I had more to give, but
Yeah.
I had reached my end of life.
Right.
I had reached my
Yeah.
shelf life. I had
Yeah.
an expiration date stamped on, and again, but
Yeah.
where one door closes, another one opens.
That's
However,
right. That's
I
right.
was in a place where I felt, again, every
Yeah.
every negative connotation that you could think of. That's how I felt. Again, and as I mentioned earlier with another chain breaker, hey, at some point in time, you got to identify who you are and whose you are,
Yes.
reassess the
Yes.
situation, and turn the negative into a positive. And that's where the resiliency comes in, the ability to bounce back. Your glass is half full, it's not half empty. And you have to seek out the positive aspects
Yes,
going
sir.
forward.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
I understand completely what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. Thank you so
Again,
much.
thank
You're
you for your
awesome.
question.
Thank
Yes, ma'am.
you.
You are as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Praise God. Just listening to my husband, and this was 4 years ago now that we went through this trial. And still to this day, I get so emotional because, we don't forget about the trials that we go through. We just, praise God that we have overcome, that we have reclaimed our lives. And I pray that, the words coming out of my husband's mouth, on this platform tonight, I hope and pray that it is inspiring somebody that's listening. Because, our military family, they're going through something. Spouses are going through something. I was going through something because he was going through something. I was frustrated. I was overwhelmed. I wanted my husband. And, one thing, I continuously say, no matter how much I wanted him to show up for me, I was thinking, you've been in the military 29 years. You've been deployed many times. I have not had my husband. And now you're home, and I still don't have my husband. But when people are depressed, they cannot show up for themselves, more or less show up for someone else. So I'm asking you all that are listening tonight, and especially spouses of our veterans that are coming home, that are going through the transition, please be patient. And if you see these signs, take action. I did wait a little bit because I felt my husband needed space. He's trying to readjust. He's trying to, get himself back. I mean, he's coming home to all women. We have all girls in the house. But it comes a point in time when you see these signs, you say, wait a minute. Get up, come on, like my husband said. And that's what we did. He didn't have to do it alone. And I also like to say, be careful with the approach because when people are depressed and you go to them, because you're mad that you're not getting what you want, and you're going to them, you need to get some help. I don't know what's going on with you. You messed up. You're gonna make things worse, okay? You're gonna make things worse because they really was shut down. And I just thank God for guiding me, and giving me the words. And even I think though that's just how we are, as a couple. We're very patient with one another, very affectionate. So anytime, we come to one another, most of the times it's, a touch, bae, even when we're disagreeing, it's still bae, because that's saying I love you from the start, and people will receive what you're saying a whole lot better when you come to them with a better approach instead of, you being angry. So before you approach someone that is struggling mentally, pray, pray, take your time. Don't rush into it. Go pray to God and ask God to give you the words and give you the strength to be there to help them reclaim their lives. Okay?
That's right.
We love you all. Thank you so much for joining us again on another episode of Reclaiming My Life.